it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the UK. Welcome to Freaky Friday. I've got another Halloween project for you. Do remember, if you need any of the products and you're in the UK, you can shop from me just by clicking the link below or go over to my website. So what we've got here are 3 Hershey nuggets, just in a little drawer, which is wrapped with some of the designer series paper from the Monster Bash suite. The Monster Bash suite is amazing. I can't believe I'm saying it. I know I've said this before, but I don't do Halloween. I am this year. So we're going to make another one. We're going to change the colours up a wee bit, still using Monster Bash, but with different papers. So these are the same paper. I've just cut different, cut them for the different sizes. My brain, not good. This perfectly fits 3 Hershey nuggets. There's a tiny wiggle room. The final dimensions are 3 inches by 1 1/4, I think. It's sad, isn't it? Yeah, 3 inches by 1 3/8 probably. Yeah, not quite 1 1/2, I think is what I'm saying. And then it's 3/4 of an inch deep. If I can work it out to get it a snug fit in metric, I will do so as well. And you'll find those dimensions on my website, which is below. So I've got some Hershey nuggets here. I got these a long while ago. As most of you know, I don't eat chocolate, and even if I did, I wouldn't eat these because I've had them for too long. They are wrapped and unwrapped quite regularly, ready for these sorts of projects. So I'm going to start with the paper for the Hershey nuggets, then we'll make the drawer and wrap that. So these are cut at 1 1/4 by 3 inches. 1 1/4 by, yeah, 1 1/4 by 3 inches. You need some tear and tape, and you just need 2 little pieces for, for each wrap, and you want to stick the tear and tape on the back of both ends, because we're going to stick the wrap to the nugget and then stick the wrap to itself so that it's well and truly attached. So I hope you're enjoying my Freaky Friday projects. As I'm filming this, quite a way in advance actually. I'm waiting for some more Halloween products even to arrive. It wasn't until I saw how amazing this suite is that I decided I was going to do Freaky Friday. So I now need more Halloween stuff. So I've uncovered one end. You want the flap so that it's continuing round, so you can continue to tighten. If you stick it the other way around, you're almost unwrapping. So just stick it on the back, remove the backing of the other piece of tear and tape, and simply wrap it round, and then it will meet at the back. And there you've got your lovely Hershey nugget, all beautifully wrapped. So I'm just going to remove the backings of all of the rest, and then I will wrap those, and then we'll get on to the box. So I'm using, this was pumpkin pie and soft suede, and I'm going to use basic grey and black, and I used gold to embellish that one, and I'm going to use silver to embellish this one. So again, this is your flap, and you want to wrap it so that you're pulling rather than lifting. Doesn't matter, but it's going to be a tighter fit if you do it that way around. So pull and round. You could try using snail, not convinced personally. So those are your little Hershey nuggets, looking all nice and smart. I'm using basic black for the draw bit of my project. This is cut at 4.5 inches by 2 7/8, and I'm going to score this ayat in the landscape mode. I'm going to score at, well, no, let's think again. All I'm going to do is score at 3/4 inch on each side. My brain! Will someone please explain what is going on with my brain? So while I've got the scoring board out, for the wrap of my drawer, which is basically a box without a lid, I've got a piece that is 4 3/4 by just over 3 3/4. So we're looking at 3 13/16. So that would be, ooh, is that right? 3 13/16. 5, 6, 7, no, that's 10, no, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yep, 13/16. Okay, so this is the length. This one I did slightly different, and I realised that I hadn't made allowance for the depth of the drawer. So you're starting in landscape mode, and you're going to score at 3/4 inch, 2 1/8 inch. Oh, it helps if you use the right end of the score tool. 2 7/8, and 4 1/4. And then pivot so you're in portrait and score at 3/4 inch. It doesn't actually matter which end you do that, but you want to score at 3/4 inch. Okay, so I'm going to make the drawer first, and then we'll come back and make the wrap. So just burnish all of your score lines. Now on the original I used liquid adhesive, but for speed I will try using tear and tape. Okay, so I want my squares to come in. There's a reason for that, and I will come to it as we get there. So I'm going to wedge and cut straight. So I'm cutting away the score line. So cut to the side of the score line, so you want the drawer not to have the score line. Wedge and wedge. And we do exactly the same at the other end. So we wedge, cut straight, wedge and wedge. And that's that. So we want tear and tape on each of these corners, and you want it, this is where you kind of want it there. I'm going to use glue dots on the bits in the middle. As I say, this is where I would actually use liquid adhesive, but for the speed I'm going to use tear and tape and glue dots. 1, 2. Okay, let's get my glue dots down. Now, before you do your drawers, you want to find the middle-ish of your drawers, one end, and you want to pierce a hole, carefully making sure you do not pierce your finger in the process. And then I've got a silver brad from the metallic collection, and I'm just going to flatten that behind. And this is why you want to leave your ends longer because that's going to cover up your brad ends. So it just makes it neater on the inside and a little safer. Tuck in your ends, and then let me grab a glue dot, and another glue dot. This is my very old piercing tool, which I dropped on the floor, so it now has a hook on the end, which is kind of okay and kind of not. So I think I'll go back to my take your pick, which is much better because it's not got a hook at the end. Just tuck that in. Okay, and glue dot, and another glue dot. Right, so you're going to bring your cut edge up to your fold line, and again just tuck in any ends that are straying, and again come into the fold line and into the fold line, and that is your drawer. And as I say, I personally would use liquid adhesive, but you can see here I've covered the ends of the brad. Hershey nuggets snuggle in nicely like that. Right, the box to go round it, again we need to burnish, and then do the other lines. Now the wrap for the box I'm putting on once the box is complete. So I'm going to make my box up. So this is the 1/2 inch line. I'm going to cut away that rectangle there, that little rectangle, because we don't want that, and then just wedge that corner teeny weeny bit, and then just cut straight up for the rectangle, wedge in for the square. We're basically just cutting away the score line. It just gets a slightly neater finish. And wedge. Pull those bits away. And then we want tear and tape down the long edge. And I like to burnish if I'm using tear and tape. I do like to burnish, and then just take the end off and fold it over like that. And it's always good at this point just to make sure that everything is going to fit nicely. Famous last words. Okay, so this is why you shouldn't do it quite like that. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this off. So this is going to be a learn from my mistakes moment. So I will grab some more basic grey and we will cut another piece. What I should have done is wrap it round the box, this, before I stuck it together. So let me grab my trimmer. Okay, so we want 4 3/4 by 3 13/16. And while I've got this out, I might as well use it. We're going to score at 3/4 inch and 3/4 inch, and then 2 1/8, two 7/8, and 4 1/4. See, this is what comes of making your projects a few days before you film the videos. However, what it has shown is if you have one of the old trimmers, then you can of course keep it as a scoring tool. So always good to know. Okay, so we're going to cut away there. How are we doing for time? 15 minutes. Okay, not doing too badly given that we've had to go back. Don't you like that I show you the mistakes? We are all, after all, human. So wedge, cut straight. Cut straight. Wedge. And wedge. And then just trim that corner just there. Get rid of that lot because we don't need it. And let's try this time to get it right. Okay, so tear and tape down the long edge. And pull up your tear and tape. Tuck an end in. And get your drawer ready to accept your... In fact, you want it that way up really, don't you, so that it's the same way up. So upside down. Wrap your drawer with your wrapper and then just... So this is where I do like my liquid adhesive, because it's just so much easier. You don't end up sticking to your seam, because the seam's coming up as I pull. That's better. So liquid adhesive, you don't pull up your seam just by touching, and then just pop your drawer out for the moment. Ends in, so this is the top, so that's your last flap. So just a piece of, a new roll of tear and tape. Gosh, that's rare that you actually get to the end of a roll of tear and tape. Piece of tear and tape down and pull that. Oh, come along, because I'm all flustered now. Pop that up. There we go. Right, pop our drawer back in and grab, I've got a piece of the designer series paper, and this is cut at I don't know, at 2 7/8 by 5 inches. And this is just going to wrap round. It doesn't matter really which way up it goes, probably this way up, because then we've got our bats the right way. And all I'm going to do is wrap it round, and as I wrap it, I'm going to press the seam so that I know where I've got to then fold, remove that, and then just reinforce that fold so that you get a nice crisp fold. And the last one, and then just make sure that you've got it the right way up and fitting, which I have. Okay, so I am going to use a bit of tear and tape to do the final closure. Almost seems a shame to cover up this lovely pattern. I do like this scroll. And then I'm going to grab some liquid adhesive just to go around the, or down the edges, and then a little bit in the middle just to sort of help keep it attached. So this is our back. I want my bats flying up my box, so pop it in the middle and wrap. And this is where, because we've used liquid adhesive, we do have a little bit of wiggle room at this point. And then just take off our cover and pop that down. Where are we time-wise? 20 minutes. Good grief, Rickenbacker. Okay, so I've got a scrap of basic black and my stamp, which I seem to have managed to cover up somewhere. There we are. Embossing buddy, Versamark ink, and this is the Open If You Dare stamp from the Spooktacular Bash stamp set. Stamp that down. Silver embossing powder. I do always like to give it 2 dabbles. Close that, get rid of it. Okay, grab my cheese board. I've smudged it a bit, but never mind. Okay, heat up your embossing, your heat tool, and getting rid of chocolate that melts. There we go. So, I'm just going to run this through the die cutter with the matching die from the Ornate Frames. It's a bundle. Let me do this and I will talk you through it. So if you get the Spooktacular stamp set, you can get the Ornate Frame dies as a bundle, so you get 10% off both of those. My light has decided that it's given up the ghost. Oh, sorry. Unintended pun. Right. I've also cut this die from the same die pack, and I'm just going to grab my glue dots and pop a glue dot on the end of each of these, and then add my embossed piece so that all I've got sticking out is the ornate piece. Square would be lovely, but I'll just go for having it at all, I think. And I've got the edge piece of one of our black dimensionals. Pop that on there, and then get rid of that. Pop this on top of our box. Metallic pearls, and I've got the silver. They come in silver and gold in the same pack, so I put gold on the original and I'm putting silver on here just for a little more, and there we go. Well, that was a challenge for everyone, I think. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and our little, I wouldn't actually pull by the brad. You really need to pull by the drawer itself, but it doesn't matter too much if you do pull with the brad. It is reinforced. So there's one, and then there's our other. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Sorry about the, you know, let's get it wrong on camera, but that's me. If you need any of the products, remember you can get those in my online store, and I've listed the products below. Dimensions will be over on my website, with hopefully some slightly clearer instructions. But remember, you can always come back to the video and fast forward through the disastrous bit. If you don't already subscribe, please hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye!